Hey guys, how are you all doing? Welcome back to another episode here on the Brazilian Expat. Guys, I know it's been way too long since my last upload, and yeah, there's things going on, but then again, I'm quite surprised, I've already got 600 something subscribers. You guys keep on subscribing to my channel and I kind of feel guilty, but I guess that is going to be my motivation, to upload more content, But as I said, I'm still figuring things out. There's still, stuff going on in my business, the bed and breakfast, everything. So I really haven't gotten myself really settled in where I can, really start pushing out, more consistent quality content to my channel yet. So, it's all still gonna be quite sporadic. But anyways, guys, I hope you guys can hear me. It's that time of the year again, where the rain has arrived and it's just destroying the roads. My car is getting older, it's starting it's already over 10 years old, this car here. It's starting to make noises. I'm saving up actually to buy a new car. I've been saving for a couple of years now. It's just like when I eventually save up to buy a new car, I want to buy a proper car, my goal is to have some kind of pickup, either a Hilux, a Amarok, or something in the line of that, just a higher quality pickup. And they're not cheap, here in Brazil they're actually quite expensive. A car like that will definitely just fit my lifestyle. It'll be just like the perfect car for me. It's a robust car, it's a robust car that will tackle the shit roads that we have here in Brazil. It's also great for my hobbies, kite surfing, I can just put everything back in the pickup, just hose it down when I get back. For paragliding as well, all my equipment, can just put it in the back. Eventually, when my apartment's finished everything, I want to get a dog and whatnot, if I go to the beach, I can just, have him in the back, taken out to the beach, whatever. It's just, and of course with the bed and breakfast, if I do need to get some furniture or something like that, I can go down, because usually, the town where I live, everything is just, maybe 10-20% more expensive than if I go into the big city of Fortaleza. I can go, to the city and I can get a better deal. However, they charge you for freight, because where I live is just an hour and a half away from the big city of Fortaleza. So, having a big pickup is really useful for that sort of stuff as well. And then you got all of your furniture, you got other stuff, that maybe needs repairs, air conditioning, whatever, and all of that stuff is in the city, so if I need to take, some furniture to get, refurbished, or, if there's a broken TV, a broken air conditioning, I can take that in my pickup, go straight down to the city. So, a pickup is going to be perfect for the business and also for me, personally. So I'm saving up, and I've got a lot of saved up assets in the stock funds. However, I was doing great, but then the war broke out in Ukraine, and we all know, they had a bad case of the coronavirus again in China, where they had the lockdown. So everything's just crashing, everything's just, I'm just losing. I just lost a shitload of money on the stock funds. And but in these times you just got to keep on saving, and then I'm just fingers crossed, maybe in a year or two, when things settle down and get back to normal, maybe the war will be over, and we'll have better times again. So we'll see. So guys, I just want to mention one thing before I kick off this video. Is lately I've been reading through some of your comments. A lot of them are great. I get a lot of great feedback on my channel. However, I've gotten a lot of comments, from Brazilians who, I don't know if it's because of the fact that maybe they don't understand English so well, or maybe I'm actually, telling the story in a way that, is, hard to interpret correctly. But, a lot of these comments, it looks like I'm coming off as I'm really complaining a lot about Brazil, and that a lot of these comments are, well, if you don't like it, why don't you go back to your own country, and, why don't you basically F off. Look, there's a reason why I chose Brazil, to live in, because I think it's a fantastic country. I think the people are great. I think, I really do enjoy the culture. I love the climate here. There are a million things wrong with Brazil, but then again, no country is perfect. Everybody, okay, Norway, it's supposedly, one of the happiest countries in the world. Everything is, the government takes good care of us. We got great education, schooling, hospital, healthcare. Everything is taken care of. But then again, Norway is also one of those countries who has, like a really high suicide rate. There are just a lot of problems there as well. And, it's by far a perfect country, But, okay, all in all, it's a great country. But then again, it's a small country that has a lot of, resources like oil primarily, but one of the richest countries in the world. But, and I still do have a great job in Norway. And so I do a lot of traveling back and forth. I got a business there as well. But, I chose Brazil, and I love this country. And, I'm probably never going to leave Brazil unless something really serious happens here, that civil war breaks out, or, just the crime rate is just, out of control, that it's not even safe to leave your house anymore, But for the time being, I love this country. But I'm making this channel, so I can talk about my experiences, I'm gonna, cover the good sides of Brazil, and I also gonna cover the bad ones, But even though I cover the bad ones, it's just, just hoping to all my Brazilian viewers, who watch this, that by no means, am I like directly criticizing Brazil, that this is a shit country to live in. By no means. It's a fantastic country, but there are a lot of problems, there are a lot of issues, that should be addressed here in Brazil, and a lot of unnecessary stuff going on, which I think is just totally ridiculous. And I think the general population here deserves a lot better, than how the government is treating them. That's going to be my opinion. But but I guess there's always going to be that guy who's going to criticize me and tell me to F off back to my own country. I guess that's just a part of the whole deal. But anyways, enough of that. I just wanted to make that perfectly clear, So let's kick off today's video. So today I'm actually going to be talking about water, H2O. And the reason I'm going to be talking about it is just because it greatly affects, my life and how I do my business. And basically just in general, how it just affects my day-to-day life here in Brazil. Now, I think we can both agree on one thing, that water is probably one of the most important things in life. Without water you cannot sustain life. It's just impossible. Okay, so water is just connects everything. It just it's vitally important. And the lack of water is absolutely catastrophic, as we all know, and but one of the reasons why I moved up here to the northeastern part of Brazil is mainly because of the climate, you know. And of course, my biggest passion in life, you know, one of my biggest hobbies is of course kite surfing, where I'm greatly dependent on the wind. And up here in the northeast of Brazil, I mean, it's just a mecca for kite surfing. The climate is great. It basically does not rain for, you know, 8 months of the year. So we can go here for months without seeing a single drop of rain. And there's not only that, because we have the constant winds, you know, during the dry season, it's not unbearably hot, you know. We live very close to the equator. It is absolutely a tropical, you know, country, or at least a tropical place here in the northeast of Brazil. You know, it's even at nighttime, you know, you have the constant breeze. It can actually get quite chilly, you know, the chill factor, which you know, there on several occasions I can have on a, you know, a hoodie, just because it'll be quite chilly outside, you know. So the climate is perfect here. It's unbelievable. So up here we basically don't have your typical seasons such as spring, autumn, you know, winter, summer, whatever. It's basically 2 seasons. You have the dry season, you have the rainy season. Okay, the dry season usually spans anywhere between May, June until December, January. Okay, that's basically where you have the dry season, where you have very little rain. And in the middle of the dry season, basically, you know, from September, October, November, you can have, you know, basically in these months you might not have a single drop of rain. Where do we get our water from? Okay, that is a big question. Well, in this region here, it's because I was always wondering, like, where the heck, how, you know, when it doesn't, it's basically almost like a drought, yeah, where you don't have any rain for that amount of period of time, but you still have, you know, it's not like a desert, you know, you still have a lot of trees growing, a lot of palms, and you got a lot of fruit trees. And so how is that possible? So basically, after studying a little bit about the area, you know, the geographical area where I'm currently living, and what I discovered is that this place here is quite unique, as we have an impermeable bedrock. You know, it's quite, you know, a few meters below ground, but there's basically like a bedrock which is impermeable, like the water, it cannot pass. Okay, so what basically this means, it's just like a huge, just like a huge warehouse, you know, just a huge storage facility for all of this water. In the months that it actually rains here, it rains quite a bit, as the bedrock will just store all of that water, and that is sufficient to store that water, you know, for all of these months where it doesn't rain. For example, in my bed and breakfast, in my business, you know, I'm not connected to the city's water supply. You know, I was that in the beginning, but then I found out it's just too expensive. In the first couple of years, I was actually, you know, connected to the city's water supply, and I actually had a leak somewhere, you know, in a pipe, and it was underground, so it was almost impossible to detect, you know. This pipe here was just leaking water straight into the you know, to the ground. What happened was, it's just constantly just spewing out, but consuming water all of the time, the city water. So in like 1 month, I just got like a ridiculous bill. I mean, it was just like insane. It was over 1,000 reais, you know, which I'm guessing, my head is just, you know, the real right now, if I convert it, it just, you know, I'm gonna put it up on the screen, okay? Because my head just can't work at the moment, because it just fluctuates so much these days because of the war, because of the crisis, you know, the real is going up and down. But anyways, it was just like a shitload of money. Of course, I had to complain about it because I didn't think it was right, you know, but it was, you know, of no use. I just had to pay it. So then I found out, screw that, I'm not gonna do that again. So basically what I do have now is I have 3 wells at my bed and breakfast. These wells are typically, you know, anywhere from I think they're around from 8 to 10 meters deep. Okay, this is where I get all my water from. So basically when it rains during the rainy season, if we have, every year is different. Some years we will get just a ton of rain. Other years, you know, we'll get a little bit less. And what actually happened also was a couple of years back, we actually had a severe drought where we actually had in the rainy season, it actually almost didn't rain, you know, we just had like a month of rain or something like that, and that was it. And it was actually quite serious, you know, people were suffering here. You know, you had huge trucks, you know, going into the interior just with water because people were, you know, just dying of thirst. It was, and not only that, it's just for agricultural, you know, for all of these farms that didn't have water, you know, they were starting to have food shortages, and it was just a complete mess, you know. And during this, I remember this year particularly because I had to drill all of my 3 wells. I had to drill them like 2-3 meters deeper because the pumps that were pumping up water and putting up in the water tanks, they were just sucking in air, you know, because there was the water level, the groundwater level was so low just because of, you know, the entire city was, you know, consuming all of this water. However, these last couple of years have been really, you know, good with, you know, with the rain. So now the ground has been, it's just, we are currently now at the end of the rainy season. Okay, it's nearing the end. We are currently at the, you know, end of April now. We're coming into May, and you know, it's still raining basically every single night. But we had so much rain that the ground is basically saturated with water. Okay, so if you take a shovel now and you dig down 1 meter, you're gonna find water, you know. Imagine you have, you know, the bedrock is probably like, I don't know, it can be anywhere from 15 to 20 meters, you know, underground. But so you imagine you have all of that water stored now, and that is going to keep us, you know, supplied with water for the remainder of the year for sure, until the next rainy season. No problem at all. So I'm not worried about shortage of water, you know. Excellent, we got a ton of rain this year, and that's perfect. So let's just talk about the negative aspects of all of this water, because remember, we're talking about, you know, I moved here because of the climate, because I love the sun and it doesn't rain that often, and you know, all of the rain we get in a period of 3 or 4 months, that's all the rain that we get for the entire year. Yeah. However, as we get this much rain in such a short amount of time, it just causes a bunch of issues. Okay, it's really detrimental to my business, and I'm gonna tell you why. There is a truck that has fallen over. Wow. Filled with coal or something. I don't know. I mean, that there is like, you see it almost every day, you know, especially in the rainy season, because the rain, I mean, this is something I'm gonna cover also later in this video, but the rain, it just destroys the roads, just totally destroys it. Anyways, as I was saying, all of this rain in such a short amount of time, it just causes a lot of problems. And one of these problems, first of all, is just because, you know, even though we're in the rainy season, you know, the sun still pops out, you know, the sun is still here. You know, you still have days with blue skies and everything, but when the rain comes, it comes in such intensity, and there's just so much water, you know, falling down from the sky in such a short amount of time that, you know, the ground, it just can't, you know, absorb it all. If I'm talking about my bed and breakfast, you know, it just destroys everything. First of all, we do have our leakages, and I don't know why, but here in Brazil, they just can't construct anything here that is watertight. I don't know why that is. Maybe it just has to do with the climate, that they say, okay, it doesn't really matter because it's only like a couple of months, you know. If it drips into the living room or whatever, you know, so be it. You know, it's not really worth the hassle or worth the money, spending a fortune. But even though I wanted to spend the money, I tried that already. You know, I bought all of this paint and you know, this material that's supposedly supposed to seal off everything, but the water somehow manages to seep through, and you know, I still get leakages into the majority of my rooms. Okay, another issue is during the rainy season, you know, the wind, it kind of stops. Okay, it kind of sucks because we don't have the wind, and instead, you know, I can't do my kite surfing, I can't do the sports that I love. But the problem also that arises with the lack of wind, which is also a lack of ventilation, because during the rainy season, the humidity, it just goes through the roof, and without proper ventilation, we get also a lot of mold growing, you know, inside of the rooms. Okay, and this is also something I tried to buy expensive paints that are supposed to be mold resistant or whatever, you know, nothing works. So you get a lot of mold. And another problem obviously is because when they build houses here, you know, the foundations of the houses, usually if you build a foundation, you want to make that absolutely air and water tight, right? So you don't get all of this moisture from the ground to seep up inside of the walls of your house. That's like basics of building houses here, or at least that's what I thought. But of course, you know, when I built everything here, I was new to the country. I didn't really know what was going on, and of course, when you contact, you know, an engineer who supposedly knows what he's doing, you put your trust in him that he knows what he's doing. He's built like 100 houses before, so he's obviously got the, you know, experience and the know-how, right? But obviously they don't know how to build, you know, things watertight here, you know. So what actually happens also is that the foundation, it just lets all of this moisture that is in the ground up inside the walls. And I'm not the only one. It's like all of the houses, everything here is just constructed the same way. So basically at the ground floor, along the walls, the paint, it would just start peeling off. It would just, you know, everything would just start peeling off, and that's also where you get all the mold growing, and it's just a complete mess. And it's like that every single year during the rainy season. We have the same problem. Okay, and obviously you can't do any sort of repairs during the rainy season because it's, you know, it's just continuously adding moisture inside your walls. So you just gotta let the rainy, you know, you just gotta let time take its course. And when, you know, the last rains have finally fallen from the sky, then that is the time where you can actually start doing your maintenance. Okay, so it's really frustrating because you just got to sit back and just watch this rain, you know, just destroy basically your home, right? There's nothing you can do about it. and there's no amount of paint or material or whatever you can buy that's gonna, you know, the only thing that will solve it is just like a major reconstruction of the whole foundation. But I mean, everything is already built, okay? So it's just gonna, you know, it's gonna cost me a fortune to do it, and I figured I'm not gonna do that. So basically what happens is every single year when the last rain has fallen, I just gotta, you know, I gotta spend a week with all of my staff and just hire a bunch of painters and paint the whole, you know, the whole bed and breakfast. Everything has to be painted again. The good side is, of course, when I do this every single year, is after when everything's painted, everything looks brand new. You know, people will come and, wow, this bed and breakfast, you know, did you just open, you know, did you just construct it? Because everything just looks spanking new. But of course, it costs me a small fortune every single year, but there's no way around it, you know, there's nothing I can do about it. So that's just how it is. Other issues are drainage, and when it really rains hard a lot in a short period of time, you know, the water, it just rises, it just gets saturated, and basically my whole garden, it turns into a giant pond, okay? I mean, eventually it will subside, you know, given a couple of hours, but there has been days, unfortunately, I haven't been able to document it yet, but it would be interesting to show you guys one day how it actually looks, because there has been, not this year, but there has, you know, a couple of years ago, it actually rained so hard that it was over the, you know, the pool, you know, it was just the whole garden, it just was like a whole huge pond, and it was just insane, you know, it was just, I kind of panicked, and I just had to open the garage door just to let all of the water in. Out on the streets, it was just like a river. There was just so much water, and it's not a problem for all of my plants and everything. They love all of this water, you know. The plants, they love it, you know. They will grow. I get all of these flowers, and everything just explodes into colors, you know. It's kind of beautiful. But the grass just gets destroyed, you know. I try to maintain the grass and, you know, always keep it fresh and cut and everything, but the rain just completely destroys it. Just makes everything just like a big mud hole, you know. And, you know, I have all of my clients, you know, they will be walking, they will be dragging all of this mud inside of the rooms. It's just turns into a huge mess. So basically what I've actually thought of right now is actually just to put like a concrete slab and make like big drainage points, you know, where I can let the water just, you know, drain and go straight out into the street, and basically put synthetic grass on it, you know, on top of it. So that is one idea that I have to solve that problem. But basically drainage is a huge problem, and all of my pumps, you know, the pump for the well and the pump from the pool, I constantly need to keep an eye out, because these nights when it really rains hard, it's happened a dozen times that the pumps get swamped, you know, that they are, I wake up one morning and all of my pumps are underwater. And of course, they don't work. And it's also a danger because, you know, you have live, you know, electricity. You have live power to all of these pumps, you know. You step in that, you get electrocuted. So it's all of these problems as well, okay? Another issue is mosquitoes. Now, I guess most of you guys know that, you know, mosquitoes, they love, you know, still standing water. Basically what it means is just like water accumulates into ponds, or if you have like a lot of flowers outside and, you know, with the vases, it fills up with water. If you don't have good drainage, if you can't remove this water and you got still standing water, it's like a heaven, for mosquitoes. They lay their eggs, the population explodes. We don't have a lot of, there's not a lot of malaria in this area here, and not a lot of this yellow fever. Usually you will find that in the interior, in the Amazon. What we have here though is we have dengue fever. Now dengue fever, unfortunately, there is no cure for it. There is basically nothing you can take that will help. But as far as I know, correct me if I'm wrong, but the research that I've done is that dengue fever is unavoidable. There's nothing that you can do about it. There are different levels of dengue fever. Usually when you get dengue fever, you usually get the mild version. In some rare cases, you have a more severe version of the dengue fever, which can be lethal in some cases. But I've never had it myself. Mosquitoes, I'm quite lucky. Mosquitoes, they don't really like me. I don't know. They talk about this sweet blood or whatever. I don't know. Maybe my blood is bitter. I have no idea. But you know how it is. Some people, they just get totally eaten up by mosquitoes, and other people like myself, mosquitoes, they usually just leave me alone. So I'm quite fortunate like that, and I've never contracted the dengue fever, thank God, because I've got a lot of friends that have had the dengue fever, and they say it's terrible. You just get constant fever, joint pains. It's just really, you're just really miserable for like maybe a week or something like that. So you have that. You have a lot of mosquitoes and bugs in general. The fly population explodes, and there's just a lot of bugs that come with the rainy season. And because you don't have this wind, it just stops blowing, so you got all of this standing still water. Apart from that, for some reason during the rain season, the snail population, we got these big ass snails that just love the rain and the water, and they just lay like 1,000 eggs, and they start eating up all of my beautiful plants, and it's just a hassle, and it's just impossible to keep under control. Apart from that as well, you got your frogs. The frogs, they don't really bug me, but my clients, my guests, they don't really like it. Sometimes you get these small frogs inside of the rooms, especially during this wet season as well. They lay a bunch of eggs, and for some reason they enjoy the pool. Doesn't matter, it can be chlorinated. I just try to shock the pool with chlorine and try to make it like a place where the frogs don't enjoy themselves so much. But every now and again, the odd frog, it will jump inside the pool and just have a party inside there. And of course, when my clients, they find frogs in the pool, then yeah, it's not really popular. And I've gotten a few negative reviews of that they have frogs in the pool, there are frogs in the room, there's mosquitoes there, and I kind of hate that. The thing that really surprises me with like running a bed and breakfast is, especially with the locals, they are so prone to complain about stuff that probably happens in their own house, every single time. I mean, the locals, right, they come in from the cities, they come up to where I live, where I have my business, spend the weekends, then go back to the city. Okay, it's a popular place just to hang out for the weekend. But I mean, look, they are the locals, they know what's going on during the rainy season, and all of the issues, all of the problems that all of this rain brings. So it's really surprising that the locals that were actually complain about obvious stuff like, they come to my bed and breakfast and they see the mold on the wall, they see the paint peeling off the walls, and they say, this place is a dump, it's not properly maintained, and it's not this, it's not that, and there's a lot of mosquitoes, there's a lot of frogs, there's, the grass is it's poorly maintained, it's like a mud hole, it's dirty, it's this and that, you know, and it's like, dude, there's nothing I can do about it. I mean, it's just totally out of my hands, you know. If I was to paint everything today, make everything nice and shiny, beautiful, tomorrow it will be all destroyed again. So what's the point? I'm not going to do that every single day. Are you crazy? So it's just really frustrating because, you know, I think the whole thing of reviews, you know, it's just it's a pain in the ass because, you know, people are so different. You know, you have all of these. I will have one guy one day, he will leave me, you know, 5 out of 5 stars, you know. Loved the place, everything was perfect. He understands all the, you know, the issues, why, you know, why there's a few mosquitoes, it doesn't really matter, totally gets it. And then the next day you will have another one who will give you like 2 out of 5 stars, you know. It's like so frustrating because, you know, and this guy who will stay in the exact same room, you know, will have the exact same experience, but he just didn't like it, you know. But anyways, that is beyond the topic, you know. I got easily sidetracked, but I just wanted to get that out there, you know. But anyways, the rain, it really gives me a lot of headaches. And like in the end, I mean, I guess you just have to adapt, you know. Like right now, all of this is just, it's in my budget for the year, you know. It's just in what I actually have to spend. So I'm already so used to it because this is something I do every single year now. Like, I need to keep this amount of money aside, you know. At the end of the rainy season, I just need to spend, you know, this amount of money, get everything sorted, and that's it. It's just the way it is, you know. So, but that's how it is, you know. The ironic part is, like, without rain, it would be impossible, you know. You couldn't sustain life. You couldn't, you know. It would be just impossible to live here. So we're totally dependent on the rain, and you take the good with the bad. You know, the good is that after, you know, after the rainy season, after all the maintenance is done, you're ready, you know. The peak season is, of course, when it stops raining. So the good thing is that after we do all the maintenance and everything is brand spanking new, you know, we got fresh paint, everything looks really nice. That is also the time when all of the, you know, the peak season starts, where we get all of our international clients coming in, you know, and even here in Brazil as well, even with the locals. This is where everybody flocks in from all corners of the country, and everybody just has a good time, you know, and it's just part of the deal, you know. It's just part of the routine now, you know. So, but the amount of damage that all of this rain does, it's quite incredible. It's quite, you know, it's quite a lot of damage that the rain actually does. But then again, like I said, it's just a total necessity at the end of the day. You just got to be grateful that it actually rains. Okay, so that's it. I remember I mentioned that I was going to talk about a little bit about the roads here in Brazil. Now, I made a video specifically on just the poor conditions of the road in Brazil, and especially at the end of the rainy season, because you won't believe how much damage all of this rain does to the roads here, okay? But of course, it's not only because of the rain, it also has to do with the fact that, I don't know, it must be up here, I think it's up here in this region where I live, they don't know how to build proper roads, you know. When they build roads here, it's basically a little bit of gravel and maybe, you know, a centimeter of asphalt, which is not nearly enough, you know, to resist all of the impact that, not only the heavy traffic, but of course also all of this rain. It just completely destroys all of the roads every single year. And I actually made a video on this exact topic, so I'll leave a card right up here. Have a look up in the top right hand corner. Should be a card there. Click on that if you want to check that out. I can also leave a link to that video in the description, so check that out. It's quite interesting. But every single year the roads, they just get totally trashed by the rain. So I think that's it, guys, for this topic here. I haven't checked the audio. I hope you guys could hear me, clearly enough. And I know there's a lot of noise coming from this old shit piece of car, but the thing is, it's surprisingly still quite busy at the bed and breakfast, and I've got so much stuff going on still, that as I told you, I'm trying to figure out a place where I can make these videos where I'm not constantly interrupted, and the plan is to open up my own little studio, where I can start making some proper videos. But anyhow, I hope you enjoyed this video, guys, this topic here, and of course I hope, if you do enjoy my content, a thumbs up on my videos would be totally fantastic. And of course, if you want to keep, for those guys who are not subscribed to my channel, it really helps out subscribing to my channel. I'm gonna, hopefully in the near future, I'm gonna start making more videos so you guys can be notified whenever I upload a new video. Okay, so thanks a lot, guys. It was an absolute pleasure having you here once again on the Brazilian Expat. And guys, Brazil is a fantastic, phenomenal, beautiful country. Don't hesitate, to come here on holiday. And of course, for you guys who maybe have a dream to relocate here to Brazil, it's there are immense opportunities here. So guys, don't sit on the fence too long. Come on down. It's a fantastic country. Okay, guys, until next time, take care, be safe, guys. Bye bye. Ciao.